Praise the Lord, everyone. Praise the Lord. This is Olin Yancey, and this is Holy Word Yancey Productions. As I was driving to work last week, God put something on my heart. He had me think about a relay race. You know, the race where the people run with the baton, they run to a certain point, and they pass the baton to the next man, and he runs to a certain point, and he passes the baton on. God had me think about that as far as breaking the cycles of ignorance and destruction. You know what I mean? There are things that in our upbringing that wasn't right. There are things that we truly have to break the cycle on. You know what I mean? Think about it. There's plenty of things that you don't need to take the baton. You really have to break these cycles of ignorance and destruction. You know what? I was looking at a video on Facebook, and it's about these two young cops that just beat this black man for no reason. And I'm like, that hate, these guys were fairly young. I think the youngest guy was like 24. I'm like, where did this strong hate, and it was a strong hate. They beat this guy. I mean, this guy had his hands up. He was doing everything they said. They were punching him and had their guns drawn on him. I mean, this guy didn't do nothing. And I'm like, where do these guys get that hate from? I'm pretty sure they came from a generation of people that looked at black people as if they were scum. You know what I mean? That's an example of where somebody needs to reject the baton, where somebody needs to stop these cycles of destruction, stop these cycles of ignorance. Also, I'm seeing a lot of light-skinned versus dark-skinned jokes on Facebook. And also seeing that there was a movie where black women said that there are actual wars going on between light-skinned and dark-skinned, or they're treated different, or they treat each other different. I'm thinking, where did that self-destructive behavior come from? And it had to come from slavery. That's another example of a baton that we don't need to take. You know what I mean? We don't need to take that baton. We need to reject that baton, stop that cycle of ignorance and destruction, and go about something new, something righteous, something correct. That's just wrong. Allow me to give examples from my life. Okay, my father. He wasn't raised with his father. So, my dad would tell me that he didn't do things with me because his father didn't do things with him. He told me that his dad wasn't tender with him. His dad, he wasn't around his dad like that. So that's why he wasn't tender with me. I chose not to take his baton. I chose to end the cycle of ignorance and destruction. Something I do is I tell my kids I love them all the time. I tell my kids I love them just about every day. My dad never took interest in things that I was interested in. I rejected that baton. What my kids are interested in, I'm interested in too. My dad wasn't faithful in his marriage to my mother. My dad was a player. You know, I rejected his baton and went about a way that honors marriage. And another thing, another example I want to give, as far as, you know, things I can share about myself, about disrespecting, you know, my parents. But man, I love my parents, man. I got the best mother, grandmother in the world. You know what I mean? Me and my dad, we had our differences, you know. And things got real ugly in our relationship. But he was my dad. I love him. I respect him. I was a grandmom's boy. And this is my mama. She's no longer here. But let me share an example. One thing I remember growing up is this. I remember being in my single digits, and I was watching Eddie Murphy Raw like it was nothing. Back in the 80s, you know how it was. Something come on HBO, you record that bad boy. Oh man, did I make that VHS tape hot? And my parents really didn't have a problem with me watching it. And then one time, it was Christmas. I'm not sure it was 88, 87, or 89, I don't remember. But anyway, one Christmas, I got this microphone set and guitar. And I was going around with the microphone wire, swirling the microphone in the air, making a lewd joke that Eddie Murphy made in the Eddie Murphy Raw special. My mom looked at me like I was crazy. You know what I mean? Looked at me like, what you doing? But I only did that because I'm young. I'm in my single digits. And I'm watching something I shouldn't be watching. Now, as much as I believe it's not good to really censor, but that's a baton that I need to reject. So as of recent, you know what I mean, I stopped watching, you know, Family Guy and Cleveland Show. Sometimes them shows go too far. You know what I mean? And kids really don't need to be exposed to such things like that. So that's a baton that I'm rejecting. But anyway, think about things in your upbringing that you don't need to pass on to your children. You know, there are batons that we need to reject. Think about it, you know. This world was given to us the way it is. And as far as things as looking down on people, as far as things go as far as racism and stereotypes, you know, a lot of that stuff was passed down to us, and people just chose to run this, repeating that cycle of ignorance and destruction. So, what I'm basically saying is, when it comes to these destructive and ignorant things, let's not pass the baton. You got the right to reject that baton. Let's stop these cycles of ignorance and destruction. Don't pass the baton. God bless you guys. Love you guys. It's Olin Yancey. Only Word Yancey Productions. Hashtag no distractions, no limitations, no doubt. Hashtag all focus, all faith. God bless.